Hi there, folks. I'm Alex, Serzilla brand ambassador and your host today. It's nearly the end of the year of 2022, and I'd like to welcome you here on our final ceremonial broadcast of this year's SEO challenge. Our dear experts, Rob and Ravi, who have been with us all through the challenge, will help us, and we will together announce the winners of our challenge. Today, in our program, we will start with best cases review. It's a bonus nomination that we have. Somebody's got to win $300. Then we'll talk about our main primary categories. These would be commercial projects and informational projects. So let's welcome Rob and Ravi. Rob, don't forget to unmute.
Yes, of course.
So let's do a quick introduction. Rob, you go first.
Sure. So yeah, Rob Peck, Director of Client Services, O3M. Really an honor to take part in this. Very excited to be a part of that judging process. It was really interesting where there was kind of the kind of hard criteria from Serpzilla, and then seeing how SEOs blend that with kind of what their best practices are, what they want to accomplish, and kind of what's working, what's not in their own unique industry. So yeah, I mean, special thanks to Serpzilla, co-presenters, judges, attendees, and most of all, thanks to the participants. It's really fascinating to sort of observe these different strategies, both on page and off page. And, sometimes we get too ivory tower with theories, and then really seeing people put these things to work. When I was, obviously we're doing this under the looming spam brain rollout from Google, right? So it's really interesting where I'm confident the best entries will not only sort of survive, but also thrive there. Some of the commonalities that I saw are, I think I talked about in one of my old sessions, bringing kind of that portfolio approach to link building, where it's not just sort of spray and pray, but understanding what would reasonably happen naturally, right? And then seeing what we can do with Serpzilla tools to accelerate that, right? Back to that first session, right? It's weird if you're not in the phone book, but then you have all sort of media links, right? So really bringing that portfolio to it. And then I also saw another commonality is remembering that links should be pointing to somewhere worthwhile. I know that's obvious, right? But I think sometimes we might get caught up in the metrics and then forget that all of this is easier if there's something awesome at the end of the road, right? And I think we saw that with many of the sites we look at. And I know people know the importance of a great website for SEO and conversion rate or CRO, but then I've had I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of media, both online and traditional, and good storytelling will help link building efforts travel and amplify, right? Um, if I look at sort of the three kind of media relationships, there's, of course, like the hard transactional one. Then there's the digital PR that's more about the wire. And then there's kind of the traditional. And looking at the traditional ones, when you're really shaping and sculpting a story, let it be something about the business, but it could be a case study attached to it, some valuable first-party information, the sort of standard checklist approach, whatever it might be. I'm finding that people are bringing, a lot of these great entries brought their audience in mind, right? And we see that where maybe some of the first links would be seeded, but then if one publisher, if three publishers are talking about a business, talking about a topic, other ones are going to see that and pick it up. So you're actually going to get link building beyond what you actually had in mind, right? Sometimes digital PR stuff I see all too often kind of, here's my URL, here's my cache link. Some of the better ones, they're really, again, shaping a story, and then it's they're seeing more run with it. So I was delighted to see that. And then, yeah, the other commonalities from the top entrants, not straying too far from their industry, right? Being thoughtful with their link building. and then balancing the power of tools like Serpzilla and digital opportunities with kind of that common business sense. So yeah, thank you to all, and really excited to be a part and announce some winners. Thank you.
Robbie, your turn. Please introduce yourself and share your experiences with the challenge, with the judging, and but don't name any names. Just don't spoil it for us.
No, I think this was a fantastic experience. One of my best judging events, I would say. I have done this before, but I think the way Subzilla has done this is absolutely in a very practical manner, in a more value-oriented manner. I would say it's not only about just an event; it's more about creating value for the ecosystem, and then the way it is being aligned. And after looking at the quality of the way the people have performed the task, or even at the way the documents are being created. So one thing which was I could see and I could highlight is that it's more aligned with the purpose of why they're doing it. That was something which was being seen as a very common thing. It's not only about just creating a couple of backlinks or all. They are being going from a foundational and a very simplified way of approaching it. So that's something which I observed. Another aspect was, yes, we could see a couple of things which me and Rob shared, and the other participants also shared across the whole journey, are being leveraged very well. So we are so glad that okay, it was not just a competition to win; it was more like an engagement which the community all creating around to learn and share. So I'm so happy to see that how this has evolved, and I'm sure the one of the most important part of the whole competition or the whole event is the people, because without them it wasn't possible. And trust me, there are so many experts out there in the whole ecosystem, but you are the one who are few among them who actually had a courage to take a decision and to take a step forward to be a part of it. Because it's not about winning, it's all about that, okay, that excitement of living the journey of the competition. But that's more important, because there would be wins, there would be loss, there would be, because there has to be someone who is a winner. But one thing which we all should take away from this is the learning. One thing we should all be that, okay, today we are better than yesterday. That's something which I look forward, and I'm sure that everyone of you would also be looking forward from this event. And and I'm sure we all have got a couple of good exponential ideas as well, because it's easy to see what works. There are variety of checklists on the internet as well, but it's what you for yourself, what you are following for yourself. But even along with that as well, more important is, are you able to think beyond the obvious? Are you able to observe that particular idea point or that data point, which will make the substantial difference in what it will create value? And along with the so dynamically changing Google ecosystem, even people have started questioning the existence of search by the chat GPT, and that's how it is happening right now across. There are a lot of Twitter wars are happening and all, but the more important is, okay, l- we all don't know what will happen in the future, but more important is, okay, we know the now, and that's what people are so much dedicated and determined to create value. So I'm so glad. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Subzilla team. I'm so happy to be a part of this. And yes, I'm sure me and Rob and all of us who are part of this, we are all inclined towards sharing knowledge and being a part of such events where which are such a phenomenal way of executing things. And and yes, as Observe and as O Plus, we are there. That's a marketing company and couple of tools. So I'm so glad that even for the participants, we can also do, Alex, if it's possible, that couple of advanced level of APIs we can open them as well, as a one of the value for them, as not only as one of the
I think it's
only for
possible.
the winner. Yeah, only not only for the winner, but yeah, this could be a value for everyone, like Crawl Plus or something, which can really help them to learn better, because tools are just an enablers. But yes, it all matters which gun you carry whenever you're going to the war. Yeah. Thank you, Alex.
Thanks, Ravi. And we'll start with best case reviews. We have a winner. I will not announce the winner just yet because there were multiple cases which both of you can highlight and discuss. Let's start with that. Rob, let's start with you. what is it that you have to say about best cases? Which one you liked,
Sure.
which you can highlight?
Yeah. So should I name domains here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought you know took looked at this a few different ways, right? First of all, sort of what's the criteria of the contest? How did they fulfill that? How aggressive they were? But then beyond that, then of course we get into our regular sort of SEMrush, Ahref, Moz metrics, and really some of those commonalities. We're looking at things going in the right direction, right? Ultimately, dogs got to eat the dog food, or proof of the pudding is eating it. And so what we looked at are healthy links growing, right? And then some mixed approach to that, right? Where if you look at the network map, there's nothing sort of very clear, okay, this is what they were doing. But rather, it looks like sort of a natural progression amplified by tools, right? Um, just to call one out that I really enjoyed looking at would be Professional Lawyer, right? .me. That was a really exciting one to look at, where you saw things going in the right direction. And again, not just them; many of the contestants, participants did similar things. But then ultimately, you saw the metrics happening, right? Authority scores going up, traffic going up, keyword rankings going up. And then what I saw there was, again, that healthy link growth, bringing that sort of blended approach, right? And then another thing there, a few other interesting notes were, in case of that site and others, not afraid to link out, right? Remember, they call it the World Wide Web for a reason. There should be a web. And then also, as Google kind of starts focusing on these things more and more, as it continues to, um, I think that insulates a lot of sites, right? Because then when we're looking at that network map, there's government sites, there's top universities, there's mainstream news in there. And I think that, again, insulates those sites. And then ultimately, SERP results, right? It was really nice to see a whole host of these sites in sort of number one, number two, number three results. Couple of them were UAE targeted. That was that got me thinking down an interesting or kind of an interesting little thought process for me, as far as what's regular SEO versus what's local SEO, right? Because we know there's great business in the UAE. We know it's going to be a competitive market, but I saw them treating it worthwhile as sort of like a national local market. Because listen, UAE population is, I think, about 10 million. Population of the city, Chennai, that I'm in, is 8 million. Population of the state is 75 million, right? So if you look at like some of the UAE targeted ones, not that big of a country. And then some of them were services businesses, where, particularly for the lawyer stuff, where it is bound by X attorney in, and let it be a neighborhood, let it be a city, let it be a state, let it be a country. I thought they followed that sort of national local balance well, right? Where every business, no matter how big, service business, started out with kind of customers, typically customers near them, right? So that inception is going to be working on those reviews, excellence on maps, and then you watch them grow into bigger content pieces that get picked up, interesting or complex linking strategies, and all of these sort of things. And then it was great, several of the sites, when you look at the competitive position map, which I'm sure everyone's familiar, but essentially site versus their top competitors, volume and number of search terms, right? They were really crushing it, which makes me think people did take this activity, or just their SEO work in general, as a real holistic exercise, right? And it's just delightful to see so many users doing so well. Yeah, so that's really what I saw.
And can you highlight, name some of the projects?
Oh, of course. So yeah, a few of the ones that I liked. One of my favorites, again, was professionallawyers.me. That's kind of who I was talking about for some of that, where they did quite well. And look, ultimately, Many of those attorney and UAE terms, they were at the top, right? So followed the criteria of the contest, did some interesting things. Really nice use of hreflang on the site, right? UAE, Middle East is a multi-language market. Did that hreflang implementation properly. So really just saw a lot that I liked there, right? Other ones that I like were another attorney in the UAE, Al Rawad. So I think saw that growth nicely, right? And those things were really happening. One thing I did note there is they were sort of disavowing some links without getting a manual action. I know that's a debate. It's typically something I typically don't. It's typically something I don't do much of unless Google hits a site with the manual action, right? Then some other ones. I do want to call out Amit from Virtual Assistant. Really interesting submission. Essentially, what came along with the objective bit. Really interesting to take a look at the inside of the thought process, why he was doing what he was doing, and it really gave some interesting context, ideas, and just kind of inspiration for me. Yeah, and then an interesting one was another interesting one is the group of sites that are really on the right path, but I think it was just contest ended too early for them. They're on the perfect trajectory, just sort of in time. Example of that was Arzon with S4S.in. Really interesting, and it has some work to do, but really on that right trajectory. And yeah, saw quite a few of those.
Thanks. Thank you. Ravi, now it's your turn. What did you see when you got familiar with best cases? Which were your favorites? What do you think about it?
So I think we do a lot of value of to the strategic execution precisely, that how it is being executed, and going to the detail part. That okay, how are you aligning the data? Because I've seen a lot of people has used tools precisely for understanding the website speed or aligning on those lines, but from more that perspective, I give a more value towards strategy, because strategy plays a substantially important role in how it is being executed and where are we focusing upon. As Rob already mentioned as well, for no doubt we do have some similar choices where we loved the way it is being executed, or we loved the way the progress of the things are happening. At few aspects, I also observed that the performance was fluctuating as well, and a couple of folks has actually observed that. So that's a good part also. That because there could be possibility of going up and down. It's just that how we respond to it more than how do we react to it. That is important. So to name few of them, which like we personally like. Uh, so no doubt, elrovad.ae from Arjun. I think that so that something which is where I see a very consistency which has been driven, and the way the things were growing over there. So that's something which was I would not say extremely stable over there, but yeah, that's something I observed over there. And I think Rob has already mentioned about that part, but so I will not repeat the same thing. One more thing which I liked was that org.ru. So that was again a good example, and on the terms of the links and the traffic part, and also in terms of the authority, precisely, that how it is being done, the relevance, how it is being measured, and how it is being delivered. One more which I liked was the Costco one, the store.costco. So what I have observed, or what I have experienced, is normally people face a lot of issues when they are running on a platform which is maybe a Shopify or something, where there is a there is a limitation of execution. So on the same lines, but this on this part, I could see that okay, yes, it was being done beautifully in terms of a consistent improvement in the EAT part, and also doing the compliance on those lines, and then the loading speed which was being measured across all the specific category pages and then being observed. So as I already mentioned, that creating a focus and going to detail is something which was important, and then driving it by more by the numbers. So that is something which was being observed and which I like personally. One more thing was around the backlink profiling and all. So people normally focus upon doing a lot of backlinks from high domain rating websites or domain authority websites, but having a naturality was something good which was being observed. So yeah, there are a couple of things, and maybe the reason why they are my favorite. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Ravi. So now it's time to announce the winner. And well, our judging team scored the win for Mohammed Kareshi and store.costco.in. So Mohammed gets a $300 bonus. Well, congratulations. And that was a great effort, as we've heard from our experts. The the project was mentioned for a reason. There was a lot of good job, a good effort. And now we are moving to our primary categories, and I will announce our winners. But before that, I want to let all of our participants know that everybody who did their tasks, they get a promo code, and you will soon see it on our screen. So, guys, let's
Yes.
start. So, in
Congratulations.
our winners in the category of informational projects are the third place with a prize of $100 goes to an Indianath with the marketing services project. The second place with a prize of $300 goes to, oh, I apologize, but I'm sorry if I'm going to butcher that name. Probably. Chandra Prabhudev. Ravi, you might be able to help me as a newbie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You just text me the name and I will say it. Don't worry.
Um, okay. Um, Chandra Prabhudev K for the blocking app
Chand-
project, $300.
Chandra Prabhudev.
Uh, and the first place with the prize of $700 goes to Amit Mazar with the Game News project. And
Lovely.
I think it's worth mentioning that our rules, I just want to highlight Amit here. Our rules are such that only one participant can only get one prize, and Amit made it basically to the first and to the second place. So we kind of have had to give him the first place and move the line up. But that's a great effort, I think, to get
Great.
two places. But rules are rules. So congratulations to you, all of our winners, and let's get to the second category. It's commercial projects. The third place with a prize of $100 goes to Arzan Dumasia with the Advocates and Legal Consultants project. The second place with a prize of $500 goes to Aditya with yet another legal consulting project in our roster, $500. And the first place with a prize of $1,000 goes to Yegor Ivanov with a project in the paints and coating materials niche. So, congratulations to our winners and
Yes.
huge congrats to our top finalists. Shows all of us how far hard work and effort can take you, it seems. And I would like to also say that we're gonna have a bonus for all of our viewers today, like a little holiday gift. If you top up your balance for $10, you will receive a $10 bonus on top of that.
Very
All
nice.
the info will be displayed. And so, what else? I think that's all. I just would like to ask you maybe say something like the last, maybe a pillar major advice. You can sum up everything that you saw on this challenge. Maybe each of you have something to say based on what you saw, what people do, how they act in their endeavors. So brief SEO.
Is sort of right. So I think if there was a singular kind of what worked, it really is understanding, of course, the fundamentals, the best practices, right? Great content, nice site, links, build with conversions in mind. But then on top of that, really understanding the unique nature of the business. And I think the best entrants did that very, very effectively. Where, for example, if it's e-commerce, okay, what do I have? I have a product feed, I have product listings. How do I use those to build links, right? Um, Likewise, the services businesses, right? Okay, there is a local aspect to it that opens up a whole host of opportunities. The informational folks, right, is an interesting one because we know other information sites need content as well, and they effectively leveraged content that they created or that they own to really accelerate things. So I think if there's a singular piece of advice, it was really, just sort of that develop your understanding of your business, your space, your competition, and then bring a holistic approach to it. And I think everyone who did that had great success. And thanks again to the participants. Really interesting to walk through, to review the understandings of what they did, why they took the approaches they did. Really a joy. And then, yeah, Amit, he had my favorite the overview document. Really interesting. I mean, I know that was the sort of private submission for the contest. Could be a public article, right? So just thanks again to everyone and really excited to be a part of it.
Thanks, Ravi.
I think one thing which I tell my team and what I will tell everyone as well is it's all the game of focus. One thing which is at the core of everything you can do on SEO front to scale or to exponentially scale or to improve is the game of focus. And it actually starts from creating a focus on the intent, and then even it goes up to that, okay, when you are segregating or prioritizing the impact and the effort ratio on the tech implementation as well. The key thing which really matters is the focus. That's something which I highly insist even my team, okay. And by focus, if you extrapolate that focus part, it is the strategy. That what's your strategy, where is how are you mining the best value for the user on the three lines, which is crawlability, relevance, and credibility. But even at the center of the triangle, it's the focus. How are you focusing on increasing credibility of the site, of the brand? Are you focusing to increase the relevance of the brand by putting content or by creating backlinks or whatever it is? The third thing is, are you focused in building the crawlability? Because if Google is able to crawl you rightly, then whatever anyone may say that, okay, they understand all the algorithms and the thousands of attributes which are being used by Google and everything. Trust me, guys, the one rule which will be over everything else is, okay, are you able to crawl by Google rightly as per their guidelines? That's something which will say. So that is my summary is that, okay, at the center is a focus. Whatever you do, create a strategic alignment on it. Have a focus. Okay, why are you doing it? Have a reason to it. And then if you ask me, okay, remove all the jargons from your life, that only focus upon crawlability, focus upon credibility, focus upon relevance of the brand. That will take you to places. Yeah, that would be my final words.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Ravi. Thank you for guiding us through this challenge, through this series of broadcasts, and thanks to all of our experts who has been guests.
That's a pleasure.
Thanks for sharing the knowledge. And I think it's time for us to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
And,
It was a great time.
Thanks, Alex.
and before